Hello artists! Today we will be painting. Always start by writing your name and class code on the back of your artwork. At your table you will have some apple shapes you can share with your table partners. Select one and place it in the middle of your paper. Hold it still with one hand and use your pencil to carefully trace around the shape. Go nice and slow, take your time, tracing all the way around the shape. Move your apple template to another part of the paper so that you can trace it 2 more times. You should have a total of 3 apples. Using your pencil, draw some stems and leaves on your apples. You can make your leaves look any way you want to go in any direction you want. Maybe you even add more than one leaf to your apple. Today we're using liquid tempera paint from your paint trays. When you want to switch colors, really important to clean your brush. You can swish, swish, wipe, wipe, and pat dry on a sponge. Today we are painting with the 3 primary colors, red, yellow, and blue. I'm starting by drying off the brush, and then I'm painting my first apple red. If the red paint is thin because it's watered down, you can add more red paint on top to make it a little bit darker. When I'm done painting with the red, I need to swish, swish in the water, wipe, wipe on the side of the cup, and pat, pat dry on the sponge. Once my brush is clean, I can get a new color. Now I'm painting another apple. This time I'm using yellow. Yellow is not a super strong color, so you might need to go back with your brush and scoop up more yellow paint. In the last apple, we're mixing together a new color. Load up your brush with the yellow paint and spread the yellow all around the last apple. When you're done, wash and dry your brush. Swish, swish, wipe, wipe, and pat dry. Now that your brush is clean, you're going to dip your paint into the red just a little bit. Red is a really strong color, so you don't need a lot of red paint. What you're doing now is painting directly on the wet yellow paint in that middle apple, and you're mixing a new color. When you put the yellow and red together, what color are you now making? Orange. If you use too much red, the apple will turn all red, and if you need to problem solve, you might need to go back and get more yellow on your brush to make it a little bit more orangey. Make sure that when you're done, you can wash, wipe, and dry your brush. Now we are going to mix another secondary color for the leaves. Start by painting the leaves with the yellow paint, then using your brush, dip into the blue just a little bit. The blue, like the red, is also a strong color, so you don't need too much. What's the secondary color we are now mixing? Green. Yellow and blue mixing together makes green. Problem solve by adding maybe a little bit more yellow or a little less blue to get the type of green you want. When you're all done, pinch the edges of your paper and bring it to the drying rack. Now we are going to cut out our red, orange, and yellow apples. Make sure your fingers are on the bottom, thumb on top. We open and shut, open and shut. That's the way we cut, cut, cut. Holding the paper with your helper hand, go ahead and cut a straight line in between your apples so that you have now just one apple to work with. This will make cutting around the apple a little bit easier since you won't have such a big paper. Using your helper hand, turn the paper carefully. Go nice and slow to try your best to stay on the lines. When you reach the top of your apple, make sure to go around your stem and around your leaf. This might be a little tricky. It's okay to challenge yourself. But if you go slow and take your time, I'm sure you can do it. At this point, I started to cut the last piece of the paper, and then I realized that my stems were just lines, not shapes. I don't want to accidentally cut my stems and leaves off, so I went back and made my stems a little thicker so I would know where to cut. Here's a good trick for cutting challenging spaces. If you cut around the challenging area first, then you can get rid of that extra paper, get it out of the way. Then you can use your scissors to cut up one side of the challenging area, remove the scissors, and cut up the other side so that you can meet in the middle. If you make a mistake and you accidentally cut something off that you didn't want to, should we get upset? Of course not. Should we give up? Of course not. We are determined, and we will problem solve. What could we do if a leaf and stem accidentally gets cut off? We could tape it, or we could glue it back together, of course. Don't forget to recycle all your scraps. Now that you've got your pumpkins and leaves cut out, it's time to pick a background color to glue them on top of. You're also going to select a piece of burlap to use as a table for the apples. We will be gluing these down using these special glue bottles. What makes these so special is that there's a tiny little plastic needle inside of the cap. When you're all done using the glue bottle, you need to very carefully line up that plastic needle with the hole, slide it in gently, and then twist shut. This lets us all use our glue bottles safely without them getting too clogged. Now we're going to flip over our burlap. We're doing a line of glue around the outside, and then we're doing an X in the middle for good luck. Remember, just a line is more than fine, just a dot, not a lot. When you're ready, you can start gluing the apples. Just like with the burlap, I do a line of glue around the edge of the apple and an X in the middle for good luck. Then I can pat my apple down. It's okay if your project does not look like mine. We want to celebrate our uniqueness. If your glue bottle is not coming down fast enough, you might need to just be patient. You can give it some helpful shakes, but we need to wait patiently for the glue to travel all the way down. Have fun, artists!